Hi, everyone. It's Molly Johnson. Welcome back to another episode of the Autism Consultant Podcast. Now, today I'm excited because we're talking about the relationship between the behavior and the positive reinforcer. And reinforcement, it's not a bad thing. Every single person's behavior is reinforced by something. Cooking dinner every night is reinforced by my husband telling me that he loves my cooking and he appreciates a home cooked meal. My shopping behaviors are reinforced by the feeling that I get when I wear my new top for the first time. So all behavior is reinforced. The reinforcer, that's simply what we like out of the situation. It's what makes the behavior happen again in the future. Now, I will be diving deeper into this topic in my next free training. There are a few days left to sign up for that. So go ahead and do that at the link in the description. I will also have it on all of my profiles on social media, or you can just go to the autismconsultant.us to sign up and save your seat. Now, back to the relationship between behaviors and how it's reinforced. There is 100% a direct correlation between behaviors and how it's enforced. Your child slams into the wall, and the reinforcer might be that it's a great sensory input for your child, and they like that fast, deep pressure they're getting from banging into the wall. So it is reinforced. The behavior of running into the wall is reinforced by that good feeling that they get after they run into the wall. Now, your child, they might like to dump the tub of crayons out because your reaction is immediately a gasp and frustration. And dumping those crayons could be reinforced by the attention they get, or your reaction is entertaining to them. And my point is that there is a reason that a behavior is repeated. There is always a reason for behaviors. Behaviors are not random, and something is making sure that that behavior repeats again, that that behavior is shown again, and that something is actually the reinforcer. And you might have heard about the ABCs of behavior. If your child has gone to ABA therapy and you've really talked to your therapist, they might have told you about the ABCs of behavior. Now, the A is the antecedent. This is what happens directly before the behavior. This could also be known as the trigger. And then you have the B, and that's the behavior itself. And then you have the C, the consequence, that comes directly after the behavior. Now, the consequence is what is reinforcing or not. So if your child dumped the crayons hoping for a reaction from you, but then you acted like nothing happened, the behavior probably wasn't reinforced. So it probably won't happen again in the future because your child didn't get what they wanted from it. Now, if we are wanting to see more of a positive and appropriate behavior from your child, we have to make sure that we are positively reinforcing it when your child does engage in it. When we are positively reinforcing a behavior, we are definitely increasing the chances that we're going to see that behavior again and again and again in the future. Now, in the beginning, while you're promoting and trying to increase more positive behavior, you are going to have to intentionally set up these situations so your child can be reinforced. You have to be very intentional about providing opportunities that is going to reward your child for that behavior. Now, these behaviors that get positively rewarded gives your child a positive result. When they get a positive result, they will repeat the behavior to get it again. So now let's break behavior apart into two different categories just to get a little more specific on this topic. We'll say that we have two behaviors. We have positive behaviors and negative behaviors. Now, more times than not, the negative behaviors are positively reinforced more than the positive behaviors are positively reinforced. And that is simply because we, the adults, we have such a strong desire to teach that the negative behavior is not acceptable and that they shouldn't engage in that behavior again. So a child engages in a negative behavior, let's say throwing a toy at his brother's head. And what happens after that? We most likely immediately go up to the child that threw the toy. We put our finger in their face. We say no, and we let the child know that the behavior is bad, that it's unacceptable, and they can't do that. We are immediately giving that child attention right after the behavior. So, in the ABCs of behavior, the attention that we give them is the consequence. And if that child enjoys attention and reactions from people, which most kids do, I've yet to meet a kid that doesn't like attention and reactions from adults. Well, we just reinforce that throwing behavior with your attention that they got right there. And You might be thinking, but that's negative attention, because when I try to explain this to parents, sometimes they tell me, no, that's negative attention that I gave them. And it doesn't matter all the time. Bad attention is better than no attention at all for your child. And we naturally go to reprimand the child, and we naturally go to punish the bad behavior to stop it. And it might do that. It might stop the behavior, but it doesn't always last when the child is wanting to gain attention. So stopping it, reprimanding, providing a consequence, that works short term in the moment, but it only lasts until the child engages in that negative behavior again to again get more attention from mom, dad, the teacher, whatever adult is there present. So now you might be thinking, okay, Molly, so are you telling me to just ignore these negative behaviors? And my answer is yes, sort of. I am telling you to ignore those behaviors. Now, we definitely want to intervene if a child is hurting themselves or others. So we might not be able to fully ignore those behaviors when it's harming somebody else. I would never want a child to physically harm someone or themselves and us just sit there and let it happen. That's not what I'm saying. But if a child is not causing physical harm, yes, I want you to try to ignore the behavior and not give reinforcing attention to your child. Ignore the behavior. And I also want you to intentionally start giving attention to positive behaviors that your child is engaging in. And again, you're going to have to be very intentional about it. A lot of times people think that if kids are engaging in a positive behavior, they obviously know that behavior and how to engage in it, and they don't need to be reinforced. And it actually does need to be reinforced if we're wanting to see more of it, if we want to see positive behaviors increase. So when you pay attention to these good and positive behaviors, they increase and happen again and again and again. And if these positive behaviors are the only thing that's getting mom and dad's attention, you're going to start seeing a decrease in negative or challenging behaviors as a direct result of all of this. Now, attention is one of the most effective rewards for a child. That's why your child is being reinforced by the negative reinforcement of scolding and punishment. And it's better than no attention that they get for being nice to their brother. So what I mean by that is a child might be nice to their brother, and we expect that, so we don't reward it. So it goes unnoticed. But if they throw a toy at your brother's head, so then they get that negative reprimand, that negative attention, and that negative attention is better than nothing at all. So if you're wanting to know how to get started on this and how to be really intentional about this, you're going to have to make a plan for increasing positive behavior and implementing the plan. And remember, success does not happen by accident. Success almost never happens by accident. So you're going to want to be very intentional about your effort to stop only paying attention to the negative behaviors. Because when we only react to the negative behaviors, we are communicating to a child that that behavior matters, and that's the only behavior that we're going to respond to. Now, if you're wanting to make a plan, I highly suggest you look into using a token board. I do have one already made on my website. I will link that in the description as well. It's completely free. Just print it, laminate it, put some Velcro on it. And I also have a little video describing how to use it. But with token boards, you can target either a specific behavior like being nice to a sibling, or you can just target very generalized positive behaviors that we want to keep seeing. It can be as vague as you want. It can be as specific as you want. So your child is probably familiar with the token board if they are in any type of therapy or school. It's very common in the autism field, and it's super simple, it's super effective, and your child will pick up on this quickly. A token board, it's going to positively reinforce the good behaviors, and they engage in a positive behavior. You're going to verbally praise them. You're going to give them a token to put on their token board. And when they get all 5 tokens or however many they have to earn, they will get whatever item or activity that you chose for them to work for. So, you'll see this when you see a token board, there's a spot to put a picture of an item that they're working for. So once they get all their tokens, they immediately earn that item. And we also want to make sure, so if there are 5 opportunities to get a token, as soon as they get that 5th one, they get that item that they were working for. And then the token board immediately starts over. You take all the tokens off and you start the cycle of doing this completely over, and you're constantly rewarding positive behavior until you start seeing your child get the hang of it and until you see a decrease in the challenging behaviors. Now, once you start to see some success with this, you can definitely back off a little and not use it all day long, but I would not completely get rid of it, because if you think about it, we all work for something. You wouldn't go to work if you didn't get a paycheck. So why on earth would your child engage in a positive behavior if they get nothing from it, especially when they want something from it? And you can certainly make your own. You can look online to see what they look like, just Google it, and you can really make ones that are specific to your child's interest. I've seen token boards that look like mini versions of Candyland or a rocket ship. And you can just get really creative and find whatever is going to hold your child's attention and really help with the motivation part of this. Now, I will go more into this in my free training, so make sure to sign up for that. It is on February 10th, and I hope to see you there. You can sign up at the autismconsultant.us. And then, of course, let me know if you have any questions on this subject or if you have any trouble downloading my token board from my website.